Morgan Show, welcome. So today we're going to talk about their killing on the roads and then investigating and clearing themselves. Have you ever thought about the wrecks caused by law enforcement agencies all across the state, and then they investigate themselves, and 9 times out of 10 they claim that they didn't do anything wrong? So we're going to investigate the investigators. They're sure causing a lot of casualties on Tennessee roadways. And then they look into their own actions and for the most part decide they're clear. And then they also have people in the Attorney General's office that investigate them and say they're cleared. And the people in the Tennessee Attorney General's office get stopped by police. And if they're in their political area, then they're not drunk or they're gotten a ride and free to go. So we're going to talk about the deadly internal politics of the government, how it works well for them. Say, well, that doesn't work if there's a lot of carnage. It works if it works for them and it's not them's the one getting killed. So we're going to talk about that today, uncover some evidence, some real facts live on the road, some real dead bodies that they step over. They step over the bodies and say that it should have been there. That's what I think. So we're going to talk about it with facts and evidence. Look at this American flag here. Beautiful American flag. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. It is the Charles Van Morgan Show. Uncovering the truth, unbridled perspective, unafraid, and untamed. So we're riding the white horse of truth against the corrupt, crooked government in the dirty government state of Tennessee. We're going to talk about something that could cause you to be dead on the road. And I know you're thinking, well, drunk drivers and inattentive drivers, that's what they put out in their messaging. Hey, it's drunk drivers and it's inattentive drivers and it's citizenry. It's the citizens. It's those people that are causing wrecks and fatalities because they're drunk and they're holding their cell phones. And they are causing people to get dead. My neighbors are dangerous to me. The citizenry of the state of Tennessee, we're the government, we're good, we're above board, we're honest. We investigate your wrecks and determine you're guilty. And we investigate our wrecks and determine we're not guilty. And we are citizens and in government too. And when we get stopped for DUI, we get a free ride, get somebody to call us and take us home. I'm talking facts, boots on the ground, real evidence. I looked through newspaper clippings over the course of years and years, have studied sociology. I know how it works well for them. It's called human nature. If you're crooked and you're in power, then you make the power serve you, and you punish and you imprison and you oppress the citizens. Now, I know that's a broad view, but I'm going to tell you specific facts and incidences, and it's become very compelling in the past few months, less than a couple months, in the past about 7 weeks, how police cars, marked police cars, and it's gone on for years, but just in the past few months, accumulation of police cars, marked law enforcement units, highly trained, supposedly, that's what they say, best trained in the state, have special emergency driving training. And I know about that training. I've been all through it numerous times. Spent 18 years in law enforcement. So I know what I'm talking about. And in the past, about 7 weeks, they have been involved here in just East Tennessee. I'm trying to simplify it so that I can understand it. And a lot of complicated stuff I learned in law school, simplify it, make it Barney style, just take it one step at a time. So I'm not talking about the whole state. I'm talking about this area, this small area in East Tennessee within a relatively small square mile footage. In the past about 7 weeks, there are 4 dead people, 2 seriously injured as a result involvement of marked law enforcement cars and for the most part, we don't even know who the law enforcement people are involved in the wrecks. We don't know the drivers of the cars. And I would argue that we shouldn't, because we don't want to dox them. But I guarantee you that if you were involved in a fatal wreck or a serious bodily injury wreck, your name would be front and center, maybe your picture on the newspaper, Knoxville News Sentinel, or it's Knoxville News Sentinel. In the past few years, it's gotten a little better, I will say that. And your picture would be your mugshot, or even just your picture if you weren't arrested yet. Probably would be later after they done their lying investigation. They lie in these investigations. And I'm not just talking conspiracy theories. I'll be glad to, I think Channel 4 News in Nashville, some of them reporters talk to these conspiracy series, and they don't want to talk to them. I'll be glad to sit down and talk to them and show them evidence of everything that I am saying. Spell it out for them. They don't want none of this, though, because they think they're investigative reporters. But make sure I don't fall down. So many people got in here. But they don't really want to do a full investigation, because they get hung out to dry and probably prosecuted for printing the real truth. So they just hang out one or two people in the government. But I'm hanging out the majority of people. The whole system in Tennessee government, specifically East Tennessee, is crooked as hell. It's crooked as hell. And I can prove it with facts and evidence and newspaper clippings that you can see, hey, this is not what they did this other person. This is not how they treat themselves. But these are bodies that are laying there. There's a real dead people. You can count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, just in East Tennessee, caused by marked police cars. In the past, about 7 weeks here in this little small area. Now, I haven't broadened that to the whole state of Tennessee. I have broadened that to a pattern in the East Tennessee area, going back several years. But the point is this. Marked patrol cars, the government, people in the government, marked law enforcement, supposedly specially trained with advanced abilities. I mean, they have to go through obstacle course and all kinds of medical tests to determine their ability to perform their tasks, involving wrecks, crashes on the roadways, not citizens. In one particular wreck, 2 police cars collided with each other. And we're going to a wreck right now, if we can make it, in a good amount of time, to a wreck where a 91-year-old was killed in a car collision with a marked police cruiser here in the city of Knoxville. Now, they cleared the Knoxville City police officer, and it may have been justified, maybe. I don't know. I know what they say, and I'll prove to you what they say about wrecks investigation. Depending on what they want to show, it can contain, and it has in the past, lies, fraud. They make police reports. They say things in the police report that indicate somebody is at fault or somebody's not at fault. And they lie in police reports. So the police reports, the at-fault stuff about the marked police cars, whoever is at fault is not determined who broke a law or who really violated the law. It depends on, is it a marked police car? If it is, that gives them an advantage. They exempt themselves, they're investigating themselves. And if they're in their area, if it is a politician, and it depends on what side of politics of the police department they're on, not about whether or not they did anything right or not, wrong or not. See, these police departments, what they do, the investigation of the police departments, they have predetermined when an officer gets involved in a wreck, they know the name of the officer, and they have predetermined if they want to clear the officer or if they want to find the officer guilty of wrongdoing. Now, if the officer is guilty of wrongdoing, but it's somebody that is high up in the department, maybe their daddy's a former captain or they're high up in the agency, then they clear them. They clear them. They don't hold them responsible for the wreck, even if it involves a fatality. If it's somebody in the department that is not got good politics, or somebody that they want to get rid of. And I'm talking about this. This is important. 4 deadly wrecks, 2 serious injuries here in the past few weeks. So it is something that we have to contend with, getting run over, getting collided with by a police car. Now, you worry about drunk people on the roads. I'm telling you, worry about marked police cars on the road. Not all of them. A huge majority of them, especially some of the new ones. So there are investigations, and we're investigating investigators. I mean, it's a real problem. There's real dead bodies. And I'll show you the newspaper clippings for the evidence, dates and times. 4 bodies, 7 weeks, marked patrol cars just in this area that I'm uncovering. It's more huge than that. Now, the national news and some of the local news channels are covering the false DUI arrest as a horrific historic problem, and it is. You can come back from a false DUI arrest. That's bad. The ones that they're uncovering is bad. That's bad. That's very bad to be falsely arrested for DUI. It's happening in Tennessee at alarming rates, happening in other states, and the ones that are uncovered that were falsely arrested is the ones that they have a victory story. They got a victory story. Hey, I got falsely arrested. It was hard, about ruined my life, but I got exonerated. Now I'm suing the police department. Those are good stories, and that's good. They're going to get a lot of tax money, not the police department's money. They don't care. It's not their money. When you sue the Knoxville Police Department, when you sue the Tennessee Highway Patrol, when you sue the Clarksville Police Department, whatever police department you're suing for false arrest, you can sue the officer. He'll get, maybe if he really did something that stops his qualified immunity, he might have to pay $3,000 or $4,000. But the police agency, not out of their pocket. It's all tax money. They don't care to be sued. It's not their money. I've literally been told that by supervisors. It's not their money. They don't care if they get sued. It's your money that you're suing them for because they made a mistake, because they did something wrong. And obviously, this is a huge problem because there's 4 bodies, 2 serious injuries involving marked police cars in this area. And we're going to the location of a death where somebody was dead involving a marked police car back in a few years ago in 2017. There was another one back in the early 2000s where someone was dead. There was another one in 2020 where a Knoxville police officer was not charged criminally, but was doing about 88 miles an hour on Kingston Pike without any emergency equipment on, and he slammed into somebody and killed them, going over the speed limit. And so this is a horrific problem. And just to keep the record straight, out of sheer pure honesty, now I've been on the road, and I have driven emergency equipment, and so it's a dangerous endeavor, and there's gonna be wrecks. They're gonna happen, and officers are gonna make mistakes, and may God bless them. It happens in the process of doing what's right, and they need to be honored, but they don't need to be covered up when they make a mistake. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be a look at the training to see if the training's appropriate, to see if the training allowed them to be able to perform their jobs adequately. And so I think that's one of the problems. So we're going to look at these 4 bodies where police cars hit people. They're supposed to be out here protecting people, and they are involved in very serious wrecks, the most serious you can, fatalities. Now, they keep a fatality list of how many people are killed every year. In Tennessee, it's usually over 1,000 since they have corruptly taken me off the roads. And part of those fatalities are caused by people who are driving marked patrol cars. Police are causing some of those fatalities. Wow. And in the past few weeks, past few weeks, we have had 4 bodies, marked police cars involved. At least one of the wrecks involving 2 police cars, one of the officers is at fault, clearly. And you can't have a wreck, and we'll talk about that. You can't have a wreck involving 2 cars colliding with each other, with one of them not breaking the rules, and maybe the other partly responsible, but that's 2 officers involved in a collision with each other. You have alarming incidents here recently in Knox County and Blount County involving officers, I believe, are poorly trained, and you can't depend on the investigation to tell you what actually happened. And the alarming fact about these 7 wrecks, in the past 7 months, just a relatively short period of time, involving 5 wrecks with marked patrol cars. 5 wrecks in about 7 weeks, marked patrol cars, just in the Tennessee area, with 4 bodies, 2 seriously injured. So that's an issue. That's people getting killed on the roadways by people highly trained not to do that. They're highly trained not to do that themselves and to stop you from doing that. But they can't stop you because they're stopped themselves and or dead. Why is that happening? What's going on? It's a serious issue. You're paying them to protect you, and they're not. In those circumstances, some of them, they're not protecting you, and they can't even protect themselves. Now, that's an issue. That's a problem with them, not with you. All the focus is on drunk drivers and driving unattentive, according to Matt Perry, the colonel of the Highway Patrol, and the system's working as far as a false DUI arrest. And I know him. I went to the academy with him. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's way in over his head. And that's according to high-ranking officials in the department, in the Tennessee Highway Patrol, because it's politics. It's not about highway safety. And I'm going to point out with the evidence that you can't trust their investigations. They lie on their investigations. So if they say such and such happened, the officer didn't do anything wrong, you can't trust it. That may or may not be the truth. And I'm going to explain that and prove that to you with the evidence. By logic, if you know the answer to a question, you're going to ask somebody. They don't know you know the answer to the question. You ask them the answer, and they know the answer, but they lie to you. They lie to you. So you know, because you know that they haven't been honest, by sheer logic, let me get off the road here. By sheer logic, see, we got people in here. You know, by sheer logic, can anybody hear me? We have investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, of course. And you know by sheer logic that they're not honest. At least in that particular instant. They knew the truth. You know they know the truth. And you know the truth, but they don't know you know the truth. So they think that they can lie to you without you knowing, but you already know the answer. I'm just setting up that situation because that's the situation in some cases that we know. So they know the truth, and we know the truth, but they don't know we know it. And we ask them the answer, and they lie to us. We know it's a lie because we know the truth. By logic, we know in that particular incident, and that happens. In that particular incident, just logic, a 5-year-old can do this. We know that at least in that particular incident, they're not honest. They have lied about something. They haven't been truthful. So if we ask them, and this is an indictment on the Tennessee, the people in power in the Tennessee government, an indictment on them. It's the same thing I would say to a jury. And then I would show them the evidence where they're lying about something. And then I would ask this next question. Then if we ask them another question that we don't know the answer to, we don't know. We have no idea, no way of knowing the answer to immediately. And then we ask them, and then they tell us the answer. Do we believe them? Because we know they've lied in the past. We have evidence and fact of that. They've been deceptive. They've lied about something. Wreck investigations, maybe. I'm just saying that, and actually I'm doing more than just saying, I am telling you that they do, for a matter of fact, lie on wreck investigations. And I can show you one where they did. So when we don't know the answer to a wreck and we don't go to wreck scenes investigate, and they tell us this is what happened right here, do you believe them? Can you? They may be telling the truth, but there's a possibility based on their past performance that they damn well may not be. And how do you know? Well, maybe, just maybe, if it is something that keeps occurring over and over, there keeps being dead bodies involved in them, and they say, we didn't do anything wrong, and then there's another dead body. We didn't do anything wrong. And maybe you're thinking, well, maybe that they're doing something that's not right unless they completely explain it and say it under oath, and there's nothing that we can look at that shows that they're lying, then maybe we can trust them. But the fact that they've already been deceptive, they've already lied, taints the whole system, makes it dirty as hell. And if you get the same treatment, you're hit by a policeman, the policeman's always right. Are they servants or lords? They're lords. So we're going to investigate the investigators today. We're going to look at wrecks where they're involved in marked police cars, and we're going to look at the casualty, the carnage that's going on with marked police cars, law enforcement agencies in the state of Tennessee. These are the most powerful agencies that are allowed to use force to arrest you, to cause you to do something. And so that it's important that we look at what they're doing. And they are concerned, they claim they're concerned about highway fatalities, about people getting killed on the roads. They keep a tally of how many fatalities are on the roads. They claim drunk driving, they claim inattentive drivers. And do they keep a separate tally? I did just here in the East Tennessee area for the past 7 weeks, a separate tally of wrecks involving marked cars. 4 fatalities involved in those wrecks. 2 serious injuries. One of the wrecks involving 2 patrol officers on a national-wide stage. And previous wrecks, they've investigated themselves and determined that they're not responsible. And the alarming thing about these past previous wrecks is justice delayed is justice denied. Only in one of the five wrecks involving 4 fatalities and serious bodily injury has any information been released about what happened. Only one of the 5 involving a fatality, and that person was one that unfortunately died himself in a marked patrol car, an honorable person, and to me, he should have been trained better. And also there may be falsehoods in the police report, even in his death. We don't know. They investigate and they clear themselves. The alarming thing about these past few wrecks in the past 7 weeks has been that out of the 5 wrecks, only one have they came out with any information about their investigation, who's at fault. So they're not releasing information. The state law says they have to do a wreck report within 7 days. And the last wreck has been about 2 months ago, and they haven't released any information about it. The last wreck that they released information was the soonest one. So there's one that happened before, back in November, and one police officer was at fault in Maryville, Tennessee. We'll look at the dates and times. So one police officer had to be in fault because 2 police officers collided with each other on a world stage. And a common denominator is the Tennessee Highway Patrol is investigating it. Wow. And I know the Tennessee Highway Patrol lies about wreck reports, lies about who's at fault, lies about what happened, and I can prove it. And also by logic, if you tell the truth about something, then there's nothing that can disprove it. Now, there are things that you could take out of context to make it look like someone's lying. That's what prosecutors do. They're very good at it. They prosecute and get guilty verdicts every day based on innocent people by cherry picking stuff and putting it in the wrong place. I've said this before, and I'll say it some more. You go into a courtroom in a Tennessee courtroom, and you see somebody sitting at the defendant's table in jail clothes and handcuffs and leg irons. And you see his defense attorney stand beside him. And you see the prosecutor, nice three-piece suits, their BMWs in the parking garage. They just drove from their big, beautiful house. And the judge sitting on the bench in his black robe. Everybody has to stand up. The bailiff yells, "All rise, the Honorable Judge so-and-so." And he enters the courtroom and all sit down. So you have to literally stand up for the judge. Does he stand up for you? He's supposed to be serving you. You know, I think when the judge comes in, that the citizens need to sit down and the judge needs to stand up, and the judge ought to say, "Honor the oath, honor the Constitution, honor the citizens. Please stand up for 30 seconds in honor of the citizens in the courtroom." But they don't do that. We got to stand up for the government, and they sit down for us. It shows you what they honor. They honor each other. So they got this little system where, and the prosecutor is standing there in all their glory. Everything they say is believed. And you look, and if you walk in a courtroom, you would think the most dangerous person in that courtroom is that defendant, that criminal defendant sitting there in leg irons and handcuffed and jail clothes. And it appears that way. That's appearances. I'm here to tell you, Charles Van Morgan, advanced degree in sociology from the University of Tennessee, a well-respected school, a doctor of jurisprudence, passed the bar exam twice, and also business degrees, plural, in human resource management. 18 years in experience on the road and in courtrooms. I went to court more than any trooper in the state because I had to, because I was cleaning up the roads. So I know the judges. I've met them personally. I know them from law school. I met them personally. I'm not talking from an abstract point of view or conspiracy. I have been there. I have seen it with my eyes. Now I know what everybody tells me, or most people, and it is false. It is wrong. It is a lie. It's propaganda. The most dangerous person in that damn courtroom, and I'll use the word damn because you're going to be damned if you go in there. They're going to get you. I mean, but I'm innocent. I trust the system. Well, go right ahead. You'll still be found guilty. And how long will you sit in jail before you say, "Wait a minute now, I don't trust the system anymore"? Been there, done that, got everything I had taken away from me for that. I wouldn't trust the system. The system needs to be changed. They are violently attacking citizens. They are violently killing us on the roadways that they claim we're responsible for. We are responsible for the high fatality rate because we run around drunk and we play on our phones. That's what they're telling us. I'm telling you facts. 4 dead bodies, 2 serious injuries, marked police cars in this little area. That's a fact. I mean, you can explain it away. And you don't have to explain it away. They will explain it away for you. They will help you explain away. It is not because of marked police cars. They were doing right, and the administration trains them right, and they did everything right. No way out of it. The dead body was the dead body's fault. But when you have 2 police cars colliding each other, it takes them a while to figure that out. The most dangerous person and one of the most dangerous people on the roads in the state of Tennessee is not even the marked police car out on the road. It's not. Now, you think I said all that to say, well, the police cars are dangerous. The most dangerous person in the courtroom is not that criminal defendant. It is a combination of people. It is the dirty Tennessee judge, and they're dirty as hell. I like saying that because AI don't want me to say that. The Board of Law Examiners don't want me to say that. Judges don't want me to say that. So I say that because I can. And the other reason, it's the truth. Remember, I'm riding the white horse, truth. It's the truth. And I can prove it. Not all judges, not all police, not all government officials. A huge majority of them, and I tip the scale, and the ones that ain't have to go along and get along. And when you got bodies on the road, dead people, I mean, how would you like for a policeman to come to your house and say, your son or your daughter's dead, or your wife's dead, and it involved a marked unit, but the marked unit didn't do anything wrong? If the marked person in the patrol car was somebody on the good side of them. But how would you like if your son or daughter was drunk and they shouldn't have been doing what they were doing, running from police, and you told them all your life to stop for police, and they were dead, involved a police pursuit, but the police didn't do anything wrong, but they were on the bad side of politics, so the government lies to say we do get bad police officers when they're actually just getting the ones that they want to get, because their investigations are full of lies. You can't trust a damn word they say. If you lie, there'll be evidence to uncover it. The most dangerous person in the courtroom is not the criminal defendant. The most dangerous person on the road is not the citizenry, not the marked police cars. It's the people over the police officers that are supposed to be training them, spending money, and that are doing things to enable and to cause mass casualties on the roadways by police, and by police not doing their job. It's the upper administration. It's the colonel, Matt Perry, over THPP. It's the governor of the state of Tennessee that condones and perpetuates these atrocities. It's your legislators for the most part that perpetuate these atrocities and blame the troopers for their own errors, which is what Lionel Russell's trying to do. And he's a real victim, isn't he? A victim of his stupid self, and goes around victimizing people. So I have inside information. I've seen it happen in real life, time, every day, in every way. And to get your attention, explicating to you 4 dead people, 7 weeks, and 5 patrol cars involved, two serious injuries, just in that short amount of time. Wow, something's going on. Yeah, it's going on. The most dangerous person in a courtroom is the judge, the prosecutor, and your criminal defense attorney. For the most part, a lot of times, not the criminal defendant. And the prosecutors are good. They're excellent at prosecuting innocent people. They convict guilty people all day long. There's nothing to it. They're guilty. It's easy to prove most of the time. You can find stuff. What's very difficult for them to do, and in that Gumphrey case, look at that case. It's been going on for several weeks. People think that they won't find the person involved. They'll find who's involved in it. They usually always do. In today's modern technology age, they'll find who did that. They'll find out who's responsible. Wait and see, mark my words. And it'll come pretty quickly here in the next few days, I believe. The most dangerous person in the courtroom is the judge, the prosecutor, your defense attorney, not the criminal defendant. Prosecutors love to convict innocent people. They love to. That's the challenge. But you say, I'm not guilty. And they have a conscience. Now their consciences are seared. I'll tell you how their consciences are seared. 4 dead bodies, 2 serious injuries. What are they going to decide? What are they going to do? And I know these prosecutors here in Knox County. I know them. I've met them. And they're dirty as hell. They're crooked. They're crookeder than a dog's hind leg. Sharman Tissue Allen, crooked as hell. Worked under one of the most crooked, despicable, foul, defamatory prosecutors in the history of Knox County, Randy Good-for-Nothing Nichols. And they control that dynasty that controls law enforcement in this area because they investigate law enforcement. They're the one that ultimately decides if officers get persecuted, if they get prosecuted, or if they get a free ride. And you will notice if they're within this jurisdiction. Prosecutors. Samuel Jarbin, the former Knoxville Police Chief, Phil Keith. If you're within this area and you're drunk driving in a city vehicle or in your own vehicle, then not the current police chief, the former one back a few years ago, not the current one. I want to get a false defamation suit by one of these rich people. If you get stopped, and this literally happened, in your jurisdiction, if you're a prosecutor, a police chief, one of the important people, according to them, one of the people in power, and this is just stuff we know of. There's a lot of stuff that happens on a daily basis that we don't know of. This is just stuff that something's leaked out, and we know about it, and then there's a cover-up. So if you're in the system, and this is an important point, listen to this, if you're in power in the system, former police chief, prosecutor, and you're within your area of power, of rogue power, of somebody that'll prosecute innocent people, of somebody that'll listen, prosecutors listening to phone calls between you and your attorney, even though that's protected. And then if you're in your area, then you don't get prosecuted. You get it explained away. The prosecutor was stopped in Knoxville by Knoxville police a few years ago. And somehow it caught somebody's attention, so it got out in the news. But it was in Knoxville. The Knoxville police officer let her go. And she had been drinking, but he said she wasn't over the limit. That's what he said. She's a prosecutor. Out of the jurisdiction in Oak Ridge, make sure I don't get run over here. May God protect me, I pray. It's dangerous out here on the road, even walking. In Jesus' name, I pray protection. And for you all too, thank y'all for joining me. If you're out of your jurisdiction, I'm going to show you evidence of this. If you're out of your jurisdiction and you are drunk, like in Oak Ridge, a prosecutor in the state of Tennessee, in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, after he left the Knox County Courthouse getting somebody convicted of a crime, he got drunk, drove to Oak Ridge, and was outside the Knoxville area district attorney's jurisdiction, another attorney general in Oak Ridge, and he got arrested for drunk driving. And so he was arrested. So a prosecutor in Knoxville arrested inside this area, free. A prosecutor in Oak Ridge, drunk driving. And I'm not saying the one in Knoxville was, I'm saying she was stopped suspected of drunk driving and free in her jurisdiction. A prosecutor suspected of drunk driving in Oak Ridge outside their jurisdiction, outside their little circle of power, arrested, pled guilty. He wouldn't take the sobriety test, wouldn't give a blood test, lawyered up with himself. And the prosecutor in Knox County, Dirty Randy Nichols, bragged on him. He just got a prosecution, and he was celebrating, and you know, a great hard-working guy. But if it had been me or you, they slam you. They persecute you. But they have a little different tier system in the people of power. And the government don't belong to them. If they can't act right, they can't adjudicate fairly, they don't need to be in public office. They don't like me out here saying this, because I would encourage you not to vote for the people in power. So we're on our way to a deadly incident that happened in 2017 outside our little 7-week that we're talking about 4 bodies and 2 seriously injured. that's 6 people hurt, 4 fatal, 2 serious, marked police cars. Happens all over the place. And we're talking about the investigations into these incidences. Are they done appropriately? I'm going to show you no, hell no, they're not done appropriately. They're biased as hell. They're crooked as hell. Depends on what side of politics you're on. Depends on if they're in or outside their jurisdiction. Depending on whether we get the truth or whether we get a bold-faced lie and they step over a body with their sheared conscience and go on about their business, going on prosecuting more innocent people because they get a kick out of that. They love that. Guilty people, all the evidence is there. If they're not guilty, they gotta trick the jury. They love that. It's called deception. Satan, Lucifer, is the king of that. And they do a lot of following evil in our government power system structures. And Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News, I'm here to point it out to you. It's in the papers. You just have to look for it and draw the lines. They're real clear. A lot of it leaks out in the papers, and they quell it or dismiss it or explain away. They lawyer it away. They just say, oh, this is because of this, and we were perfectly innocent. Doesn't matter, 4 bodies, nobody did anything. And the one that did, we've persecuted them, or they've resigned. And what they're not telling you is the one that they said did something wrong. If they weren't on the right side of politics, that's the reason why they got hung out to dry. If they're on the right side of politics, they could have done any damn thing they wanted to, and it'd be just fine. They'd be protected. So there's a protected class. A protected class. People in power. Very few of them. That's why they fear me. And the mass citizenry, you, and you're the ones I'm talking to, all of y'all, the mass citizenry, us, because I've become one of y'all that they tried to step on. And good luck with that. It ain't working out too well for you, because I am a fighter, getting a little better one every single day. Not in physical violence. I'm a fighter in the sense of using a legal education, not bridled by them, using knowledge and out winning the battle of perception and winning the battle of truth. And it's easy to do, just tell the doggone truth. And it works out, and there's nothing can disprove it. And so I'm on your side, and there's a difference. There's a huge difference, and I'm just pointing it out to you, between the have and the have-nots. The haves, the have-zalums, have the criminal justice system. They own it. They don't own the truth. The truth is something they can't control. It gets out of their control, so they try to grab it. Get it over here. Van's over here. Let's get him over here. He's over here. Let's put him in jail and he'll shut up. You know, they don't have the truth. They don't have the truth. That's scary to them. It's out of control. The truth is something they have to overcome and have to contend with, because it exposes them for the dirty creeps that they are. And they have the power to inflict their disgusting, despicable, anti-constitutional will and step over bodies 4 and 7 weeks and say that they didn't do anything wrong. They don't have the power. They don't have the power to control the truth. That's a little bit out of control, and that's what we're doing on this channel, is putting the truth out to power, telling you the truth, and hiding where we have to from people in government power, because I damn guarantee they're after me every day. They'd like to shut me up. The truth is powerful, more powerful than their lies. All of us Tennesseans are more powerful. And Californians all across this United States, from California to North and South Carolina, from New York to Florida, and Texas to Montana, and Washington, we have more power than they do. We got more people than they do. We got the truth, and they don't have it. And that's what we're spelling out with newspaper articles, stuff that's leaked out that they didn't want you to know, and connecting the dots, and telling you where they lie. They lie about things, and telling you how simply you can figure out that that's a lie. It doesn't go along with logic. It doesn't make sense. It's because they lied about it. And I'm going to show you a lie that they have told, a lie that I can prove on a rec report. So how do we know that they're working rec reports honestly? Did they change? Have they changed? They just got honest all of a sudden? People won't change until you make them, until you force them, until you stick the truth in their face and say you're a liar, admit you lied, and change that. So welcome. Let's see how many people we got in here. Just a few. We got enough. The dude has drank his brains away. I don't even drink. See how stupid that is? Accusing me. You sound like a state. Accusing me of drinking my brains away. I don't even drink. I quit drinking when I was 19, 20 years old. I mean, see the lies of disgusting, despicable people. That's how the government does. And they're accusing a lot of people. You must be the government of being drunk, of drinking, and arresting them. They're not even drunk. I mean, wow, you can just throw anything out there. Dirty creeps. Dirty, rotten, disgusting, despicable creeps. Some of them in trooper uniforms. Some of them in prosecutors' dress clothes. Put out despicable stuff that is not true. And people are starting to come forward that they're accused of being drunk and their alcohol blood level says 0-0. Hey, you creep dirtbag in here, 0-0, idiot. What I am intoxicated with is a doctor of jurisprudence. How much education do you have, nutbag? I mean, there's a lot of crazy people. Thank you for being on my show, increasing my chat, increasing my outreach, so that I can tell people that are intelligent the truth. So we got a bunch of notes here, and we're going to go to the scene, boots on the ground. It's not hard to go very far. You can walk from your residence to scenes of fatal police crashes. And here's a bunch of notes we got here. And we're going to expose the corruption and the most damning thing to me about the 4 bodies, 2 serious injuries, every one involving a marked patrol cruiser in 7 weeks in this small area in East Tennessee. That's not counting all of them statewide. This is just in this little area. And the alarming thing to me is state law says 7 days for a crash report. Now they're holding it because it's pending investigation, but they've had 2 months to investigate one wreck and haven't put out any public information. So they're trying to let time go by, let the dust settle, and if the news media or nobody asks questions, they won't even answer. They'll just have a bogus police report on file, and everybody go about their business, step over the bodies, everything's fine, and nobody knows anything because nobody asked any questions. You had the initial report, the inflammatory incident where somebody's dead, cars mangled, police cars there. Makes a lot of news, it's inflammatory, and nobody knows what happened, so they're not going to blame anybody. And they're not putting out officers' names, which is good. I don't want them to dox anybody. And then 7 weeks later, you don't have any information about who's at fault, what happened, are they retraining people? Somebody dead, what's going on with that wreck investigation? As a result of my concern over the lack of transparency within the Tennessee Highway Patrol, they're investigating a lot of these wrecks. And they're a crooked agency, not the troopers on the street. Do not fight troopers on the street. God bless them. They're under a scourge from the administration, from the people at the top. Now, if anybody needs to get beat up, it's them, and I wouldn't beat up them. It's the colonel and the people at the top, the sissies at the top, that are afraid to work the road. Never worked it that much, had their daddy get them sergeant and lieutenant and worked in the office all their career. And then they have hard-working officers out here risking their life every day that get hung out to dry if politics presents itself and they need a fall guy. That's what they do. So, but no violence against any policeman. If they tell you're under arrest, put your hands out, go to jail. Don't fight these officers on the road. We will contest them in court. And if they get a conviction, as a Christian, let them have it. Fight it. Say it's not true, it's a lie. And maybe get you a YouTube channel and put out the truth. I don't know about that. Now, that's what I do. I wouldn't suggest everybody do that. But these people in government power, they lie. I'm going to show you that. We're going to talk about the 5 wrecks involving patrol cars and the fatalities and the lack of information. As a result of that lack of information, I have, through open records requested information about those wrecks in this area, and any information, whether there was a report made, the report number, and any charges or any fault finding in those wrecks involving police cars. And I don't want to know the names of the officers. I wouldn't dox them. It's a dangerous job. That kind of stuff happens. Even if they make a mistake, officers make a mistake. The reason why they make mistakes, is because they're not trained properly. It's not the officers on the street risking their lives. It's the people wearing the gold badges and the stripes and the stars and the bars, and the ones that have captain and major and colonel insignia and chief insignia. That's the ones that are causing the fatalities on the road. The most dangerous people in the courtroom are the judges, the prosecutors, your defense attorney. The least dangerous person in the courtroom in a lot of circumstances is a criminal defendant, and you might find yourself in that position. That's why you need to listen to me. Or the most dangerous people on the road are not. They're not. And I'll explain it to you. The public, even the drinking public, or even the people that aren't paying attention. You go down the interstate, I seen a sign the other day. It said, put down your phone and make it home. How about law enforcement protect the public and quit picking and covering up your crimes? That's what they need to do. The most dangerous people on the roads are not the marked cars that had the wrecks. That's a small sampling of the result of a more sinister corruption that causes most of the problem. The most dangerous people that cause fatalities on the Tennessee roadways are the administrations in these law enforcement agencies, the upper administration, that create an environment of mass fatalities, that create an environment that allows the public to drive drunk, that creates an environment that doesn't train officers how to do their jobs where they can do it effectively, that creates an environment that dismisses and gets rid of good officers that provide for public safety, that creates an environment that promotes their buddies and their pals, that sit in offices and do nothing, that allow mass casualties, that creates an environment that doesn't train officers how to drive in emergency situations, how to protect themselves and other people, how to arrest people, how to determine if people aren't drunk or not. And they have a huge problem with that. I mean, they're arresting 4,000 people in the past few years for drunk driving, and they weren't drunk or under the influence of any drugs, according to alcohol test and blood test, and they explain that away. So the major problem is not the police on the road. It's not even those 5 crashes involving marked patrol cars. Now, you thought that was my point. It's not. You got to look a little deeper than that, because we can put other officers in those cars, in those uniforms, and we may even have a worse result. And we probably will, because that's even less trained. The major problem is not what you think. It is very astonishingly the people above the street officers in government power that create an environment that allows this stuff to go on. It is not because you're holding your cell phone. I'm not telling you to break the law. Don't do that, because they've made it legal for them to do that. They can hold their cell phones. So if cell phone holding and talking on the phone is so dangerous, then why do they exempt law enforcement from it? It must not be that dangerous. It's just dangerous for you, not dangerous for them. Because if they're holding their cell phone, not paying attention, they can do that. That's legal, so it must not be dangerous, because the laws are supposed to provide for public safety. So they make that law. It's dangerous for you, but it ain't dangerous for them. But there are 4 fatalities that they were involved in. So they must have been doing something other than on their cell phone. And some of them, they may not have been at fault, admittedly so. But, however, when you have 2 officers crashing into each other, one of them did something wrong. And maybe they didn't even break a law because they were on a cell phone. It's not illegal for them because it's not dangerous for them, although one of them is seriously injured in that wreck. So, you tell me. It makes perfect sense to me. You know what it means? People in government power lie, cheat, rob, and steal, cause mass fatalities all over the Tennessee roadways. Not the drunken public. And that's the truth. We're trying to cure the wrong problem. Let's get every drunk off the road. Well, that would help, but the reason we can't do that is because of the drunks in power. Because they're inflicting and allowing this. They have power, why don't they stop it? Because they're not using their power appropriately. They're using it to oppress, inflict, and benefit off you, and punish you if you speak out against it, and ask people to vote for a better government that's fair and will enforce the laws on the books and enforce the Constitution and get rid of laws that we don't need. How about that? So let's look at the beautiful view. Thank y'all so very much for coming. Share this video, like it, help the algorithm if you will. If you like what I'm saying, we're going to show you the evidence here. Got it in my pocket, show you the scene of a real life fatal wreck with a marked police car. You don't have to walk very far to find one. And if you can at all, please contribute. Help the show, help the algorithm, help us get out to more people. Finance the show. It may not always go on, depends on if it's financed. It's self-funded right now, but we need money to go to different places to film the news, tell you the truth. Boots on the ground, real educated, real knowledgeable, unbridled. So if you can, please contribute in however means you can to the show. Help us financially. Thank you so very much for that. If you can't, hit the like button. We appreciate that too. So you'll get the raw truth here. Here's a beautiful view. We're going to a fatal wreck scene involving a Knoxville City police officer. Happened just a few years ago. And right here, right now, today, we'll show you the intersection. Look at the beautiful view. Boy, it's beautiful out here this morning. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for showing up. Look at a beautiful view. So, got a few people. Man, not that many. So that is the crooked courthouse where a lot of this crooked stuff goes on at the Knox County Courthouse, where you have a lot of these lawyers, a lot of foreign lawyers. At least one I know, come from another country, wasn't born here, gets time in your courts to argue for his country. So I'll argue for you out here on the sidewalk against the government and my freedom of speech rights. They don't like it. I know they don't. But we're going to try to protect Tennesseans and all Americans. Join this movement. Vote. Voters of Truth and Rage. And help the Charles Van Morgan Show, Unbridled News. And hit the like button. Hit the share button. Let's get this message out worldwide. We're talking today. Recap if you're just joining me. If you're on here and you already heard this, don't let me bore you to death. Stay with me. We got some more stuff coming up. We set the stage. Today we're talking about 5 wrecks involving patrol cars. serious wrecks. So serious, they resulted in 4 dead people, 2 seriously injured, and they happened here in this little area, just a few square miles, involving marked patrol cars within the last 7 weeks. So that's a lot of carnage by the government, or involving the government, albeit guilty or innocent. And we don't know yet, in 4 of the marked police cruiser wrecks, we don't know yet, after 7 weeks, of what the result of any investigation is. The public has not been aware of who was at fault, what happened, what retraining needs, or if anything, or if it was just a fluke accident. We have no clue. 7 weeks later, why not? Because they want the dust to settle, quieten down, and maybe no one will ask. Maybe no one wants to find out. But I have sent a request, open records request, to the Department of Public Safety that's involved in some of these wrecks that cause death and injury. Department of Public Safety. I mean, it's the Department of Public Safety. You get my meaning? They've been involved in wrecks in this little area in 7 weeks that have caused death and serious injury. A couple and a serious injury that they're responsible for. Tennessee Department of Public Safety. And they're investigating. They've been involved in some with death, at least 2, 1 serious injury that they were personally involved in, and they're investigating themselves. And I know for a fact they've lied in the past. I'll show you about wrecks that I can prove. So they're investigating. Will they tell us the truth? They may. I mean, just because somebody lies in the past don't mean they'll lie in the future. They might, but they might not. I mean, that's clear. I'm just telling you the facts. They've lied in the past. Will they tell us the truth? I don't know, maybe. If we're lucky, they'll tell us the truth. If we're not lucky, they'll lie to us. And that all depends on if the person's in politics or not. It doesn't depend on your public safety. It ought to have to do with your public safety. That's what the government main function, to provide for the safety of its citizenry. That's not what they do. That's what they tell you they do. What they do is they provide for their benefit. They provide for their welfare, for them and their families and their friends and their proxies that gets them elected. And they're out here on the roadway not telling you what is going on in fatal wrecks in this area, concerned about the public drinking and driving while they're in a marked car crunched up beside dead bodies. Now that's a fact. That's happening. Now no one says that. Unbridled News, Charles Van Morgan. I'm saying it. We're going to walk our feet on the ground, boots on the ground, where a Knoxville police car, and I'm not blaming the Knoxville Police Department. The Knoxville Police Department, I got a right to say this. If you don't like what I'm saying, refute me. You may not have as many people listening to you as I do, because maybe I'm telling the truth, and a lot of times you're not. And I love Knoxville police officers. Thank you all for what you do. I'm on your side. I'm not against you on the road. I'm against your administration and the powers that be in government that get along. Some of them are good people, but they go along to get along. The system's crooked as hell. We need to reform it. We need to straighten it up. We're getting killed out here, and they're lying about it. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion. I've seen it happen. Close up and personal. And I'm not the only one it happens to. It happens to a lot of them. It can happen to you, Knoxville police officers. You want my message to get out if you know what it is. It's for your benefit and safety. If you do something wrong, then you want to suffer the consequences. Most officers on the road, that's absolutely, they would do that. And I know a Knoxville police officer. Here's my signature location, but we're going to go a little further. We're going to go down to the bridge and down to an intersection where a fatal wreck happened. And in 2017, and a 91-year-old man killed by a Knoxville police officer. So this is a real phenomenon. That's not part of the 5 wrecks and 4 dead bodies that happened in 7 weeks. This is, if you go back further in time, this is 5 bodies If you go back within that range, there's 6 bodies in this little area. If you go back just a little further, there's 7 by marked police cars. Not policemen killed, citizens are killed by marked police cars in this area. That's an issue. It's an issue, and I'm not blaming officers. And I know, let me tell you a little story about an Knoxville police officer I met. If y'all think all of them are bad and they're dirty, they're not. Absolutely they're not. They're not. They're good, hard-working people. I appreciate what they do. And in the future, I will try my best, while maybe I'm getting my rights violated, to try to be a little more kind to them. Or maybe not, I don't know. It's worked well for me so far. But Knoxville police officers and officers, you want my message to get out, because it's for you, because it's not you, it's administration's over you. It's the system. And I am trying to get out a message to people to vote to change the system so it's fair, because policemen believe. Let me tell you a little story about an Knoxville police officer. He was involved in a call with another officer, and we're going to the scene of a fatal wreck here in Knoxville, beside a disgusting law school, the capital of corrupt power here at these law schools, where all the rich people go to learn to lie. And they won't let me be a lawyer because I won't lie. I'm not going to. And if I'm mistaken, I'll correct it. But he was going to a call. This is back a few years ago. He was going to a call. If y'all think I'm against police officers, I'm not. I'm not. They do a very important job. Most of them are brave and honorable. Some of them are not. He was going to a call. Met him outside the city county building when I was on patrol. He was going to a call, and he was with another officer, and they were going down Magnolia, answering a call involving violence. I think it was an attempted burglary call. And, could have turned into violence, somebody trying to break into somebody's house. So they were going down, him and another officer, going down Magnolia at a high rate of speed, trying to get to the call and protect the person in the residence that called. And they didn't have their emergency equipment on because they didn't want to alert the burglar, so he ran off. They want to catch him. So they're running down Magnolia, high rate of speed, relatively high rate, faster than the speed limit, not running emergency equipment because they didn't want to tip off the suspect. And well, let's see. We're going to go. No, I guess we can't now. And they were going at a high rate of speed. And one of the officers struck another car and going over the speed limit. No one was seriously injured, but one of the 2 officers, they were in 2 different patrol cars, struck another car and didn't hurt anybody, but he had a wreck without his emergency equipment on while he was responding to a call. And another officer was also on the call. I'm sure they sent other officers he stopped to assist him. But the officer that had a wreck without his emergency equipment, that hit somebody else wrongfully, he got suspended for having that wreck, not having his emergency equipment on, not following department policy. He got suspended. And the other officer that was in another patrol car, and he was also going over the speed limit, also violating the law, but he didn't have a wreck. So he said that if the officer that had a wreck got suspended because he was going over the speed limit, breaking the policy, not having his emergency equipment, he was doing the very same thing as the other officer, except he was fortunate enough he didn't have a wreck. And he told the administration, I remember telling this, that if he got suspended for doing that, for having the wreck and going over the speed limit was one of his violations, then I was going over the speed limit too on that call, and I didn't have my emergency equipment on, although I didn't have a wreck. I very well could have, just like him. Then I should get suspended too, because I was doing the same thing he was doing. That Knoxville police officer tell me that. Now that's as honest as you can get. He didn't want to hang out his brother. If you got suspended, I didn't have a wreck, I could have. I at least should be suspended for doing the same thing you are. You were, as far as the part where I was going over the speed limit, not having my emergency equipment on, just like you. That's an officer police department just a few years ago. Tell me that. Now I would, quite frankly, been real cautious about turning myself in to thugs, upper administration at law enforcement agencies. That's what I think they are. So he self-reports. Hey, I was going on the speed limit too. Y'all didn't look at my video camera. Just look at the one that had a wreck. I was there too. He got suspended. I didn't have a wreck. Shouldn't be suspended for that. I can, but I should be suspended for. If he got suspended, then I want to take my punishment too. I ain't hanging him out. I was doing the same thing. And so they suspended him for going over the speed limit, just like the other officers. So he self-reported. Honesty. And a lot of police officers, they are more honest than you know, more honest than a lot of citizens. They absolutely are. There's a lot of state troopers out here on the road that are more honest than citizens. They absolutely are. They absolutely are. They don't run the Tennessee Highway Patrol. If they did, a lot of people that are at the bottom, it would be a lot cleaner agency. It would be a fair agency. The honest people don't rise to the top. They stay at the bottom, take their suspensions, try to save lives and go on. It's the crooks that trade public safety for power that overlook the crimes of the people in power that get promoted, because that's the way it works. If you're in power and you have a trooper out here that will cover up your crime, or a city officer out here that will cover up your crime and let you go home instead of going to jail, and you've got political clout, political power, then you will try to help them, and you have the power to get promoted. So it's the liars and the scumbags for the most part. Not all of them. I do know a few good THP supervisors. And actually quite a few of them. Relatively speaking, it is an excellent law enforcement agency. And that is saying a lot, because it's still dirty. Compared to the other ones, pretty good law enforcement agency. The other ones are so far gone that in comparison. So you have police departments that do wreck investigations. And THP's handling all 5 of these, as far as I know. There, at least 4 of them. They're doing the investigation, and THP lies. They lie about stuff. They lie all the time about wreck investigations, I believe. I have sent in a request because these wrecks are within 7 weeks, over a month, and we have got no official finding of who's at fault and any training needs. And my thinking is the fact that it is a result of THP, law enforcement agencies, getting rid of older, good officers and hiring a lot of new people and putting them in positions that they don't have the training, knowledge, ability to do, and they're very, very dangerous. As long as they please the upper echelon, then they're good to go. And if they make a mistake, they cover it up. So we're almost at the scene of a fatal wreck that happened in 2017. It's right here at the intersection. And here's a judge right here, a hand-picked judge by them. Judge Andrea Klain, General Sessions. Do not vote for this judge. This is the government appointee. You want more government corruption? This is who they said for you to vote for, because they appointed her. She's a judge right now. So they want you to vote for this judge. Don't vote for the ones at that point. She's going to rule for them. She won't rule for you. They appointed her, and they're wanting to say she's good to make you give you the perception, so you'll vote for her. I wouldn't vote for her. Do not vote for that judge right there. She's a former Knox County prosecutor, and she will not do you right. She'll obey the people in power. And they don't want me saying that. Wow, yeah, I can politic against them. These judges campaign for themselves. So here we're at the scene of a fatal wreck involving an Knoxville police cruiser, boots on the ground, Charles Van Morgan. And I worked wrecks. I worked them for years. I graduated. Noise of cars. I graduated from special schools that trained me how to investigate wrecks. Above the average trooper, I had advanced traffic crash investigation from the early 90s. I had advanced DUI investigation skills. I was a drug recognition officer. You never seen a list of false DUI arrests I made. You seen a list of good DUI arrests I made that the dirty Knox County Prosecutor's Office dismissed guilty people. So they prosecute innocent people and dismiss guilty people. The list of people who have been exonerated by blood test and are suing are the good stories about how people have gotten justice. The colonel says that the system works. What the colonel says is a dirty lie. That's the ones we know of. How many people didn't take a blood test and got convicted? They weren't drunk just like the other ones. They didn't take a blood test. Their attorney tells them not to. And they got convicted of DUI. Wow, a lot of them do. A lot of them do. So there's some doing their jail time on the weekends, maybe have their toximeter in the car and they don't even drink. And we don't know about them. The only ones we know about are the 4,000 people in the past few years that have gotten exonerated by blood tests. What about the ones that weren't exonerated by blood tests because they exercised their right and didn't have a governmental intrusion and they don't have a blood test to prove they're innocent? What about them? So there's a lot of people. I would suspect more than 4,000, probably thousands and thousands of innocent people that are in jail falsely arrested by officers on the roads in Tennessee and across the United States, thousands and thousands, because get across this road real fast. So I got 20 seconds, 18 seconds. Can I make it? I might be another fatality. I doubt it, but we're walking with the thing. So, like, share, comment, and somebody like yesterday give a contribution. So, I appreciate it. If you can't do that, hit the like button. So here's an intersection right here. A dirty law school, a bank for rich judges. So at this intersection right here, in 2017, an officer running emergency equipment with Knoxville Police Department made this turn, and a car coming from the other direction turned in front of him, and the officer slammed into him. He was a 91-year-old man. It killed him right here at this intersection, marked patrol car. Somebody dead right here. And that was 2017. So that's been a while ago. And look at the beautiful sun spear. So that's been a while ago. But we're talking about in the past 7 weeks, recently. And we could talk about the ones that were further away, the one on Kingston Pike in 2020, that an officer was running at a high rate of speed, going to a call without emergency equipment. Somebody turned on in front of him. They ended up dead. The officer resigned, no criminal charges, which is fine. But the up administration, have they retrained? Have they decided how they need to handle things better? I don't think so. I don't think so. They lie about stuff. And we're going to show you how they've lied about stuff. How the Knoxville Police Department lies about stuff. How they falsify wreck reports. So they're investigating these six serious injury, 5 patrol car wrecks in the past 7 weeks. And we're right here at the intersection that it happened at. And I'm going to show you my notes here with facts and proof about these incidences. This is Charles Van Morgan Show. You're watching Charles Van Morgan live on YouTube, and we're presenting the truth. We're talking today about wrecks, about police car wrecks and cover-ups. That's what I think it is. And there's the fire department over there. We're on Summit Hill. And so we get me a place to set up. So 5 wrecks, 4 fatalities, 2 serious injuries, all marked patrol cars involved in that in the past 7 weeks. Alarming. So let's go down here and we'll set up at the intersection where all this stuff is going on, show you the scene of a marked patrol car wreck while we're going through this. Here's the beautiful view here in Knoxville. Thank y'all for watching. Like, share, subscribe. So we'll set up right here at the intersection. Be a lot of people watching, but that's okay. We'll get some attention. And we're going to go through our notes here, and we're going to talk about those 5 wrecks, when they happened, what happened according to witnesses, what I think happened, my personal opinion, and what's causing all these fatalities by policemen on the road in the past 7 weeks. So let's set up here our little microphone. So welcome, Charles Van Morgan. So thank y'all for showing, like, share, comment, and right here at this intersection, right here, a fatality in 2017 involving police. A wreck I can walk to involving a police car. You can usually, from your house, you might be able to walk to a wreck involving a marked police unit. Right here at this one, authorities investigated killed a 91-year-old man right here at and this was July 14th, 2017. Authorities investigated deadly crash, a 94-year-old man downtown. This is from Knoxville News. Knoxville, and injured a police officer. Even injured a police officer. Investigators say the officer was rushing to help another officer in trouble when the van's driver, Dale Smelser, pulled in front of him. The wreck happened Thursday afternoon just north of the intersection of Summit Hill Drive and Henley Street. So just north of here, about 1,400 cars travel through this intersection. So a heavily trafficked intersection. So this is a wreck in 2017. That happened right here. But we're talking about 7 weeks. 7 weeks. Within 7 weeks, 5 wrecks involving 5 patrol cars. 4 people dead. And we're talking about THP is investigating those, Tennessee Highway Patrol. And they haven't released any wreck reports. We don't know what the heck's going on. We have no clue. The state law says 7 weeks. They're holding it over for investigation. Why is it taking that long? 4 dead, 1 critical in a short time. The policy was followed and proved it. The policy failed, fixed it. The silence is not accountability. So these pursuits have ended in death. There's a short period of time, and look at how tight this time period is. November 14th to January the 1st. And since January the 1st, the last one, it's been over a month, coming up on 2 months, since the last fatal wreck involving death. And we have 1 wreck report out of all the wrecks, and that was the one done the latest, January 14th. That wreck, January the 1st, that wreck involving a police officer in Blount County in a pursuit that was killed. And that's the only one we have a wreck report. That's a relatively short period of time for many catastrophic outcomes. So we've got a epidemic of police car crashes. Is it their fault? Well, let's look into that. If it's their fault, let's talk about that. And they're investigating, and we'll talk about that. So we'll talk about the investigators. We're investigating investigators. And this is the investigators we'll talk to you about. So this is one of the wrecks. And November 14th, 2025, a Maryville police officer in a motorcade, with J.D. Vance's motorcade. And let me get these papers straightened out. J.D. Vance's motorcade was a THP and Sevierville officer on November 14th, 2025 in Sevierville. The Tennessee Highway Patrol and the Maryville Police Department. This is a nationwide event and worldwide publicity on this event. Unlike Nancy Guthrie, this is something, and God rest her soul. I hope she's still alive. I pray for her. And also the autistic child that was abducted. But this is on a national platform. We have the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and we have the Maryville Police Department escorting J.D. Vance, and something that has world significance. Could be a heartbeat away from the presidency with the nuclear weapon. A visor to the president that could tell him not to pull the nuclear weapon. So this has worldwide significance. So it is vitally important to know about this, because we had 2 police officers who were protecting in the protective detail. Are they trained good enough? Well, you tell me. And this was November 14th. So November, December, January, February. So this is 3 months ago. Worldwide significance. Guarding J.D. Vance protective detail. And I've been in protective details. I know about them successfully, how to do it. I've been in training with the Secret Service. I know a lot of the intricacies about the Secret Service. I know about protective detail. Been on many protective detail operations, successful, and they're risky, high risk events. I mean, you're dealing with protecting them, and you also have the added responsibility of the safety of the public. It puts another layer on things. Very serious work, protective detail, and we need to protect J.D. Vance. So he's down here. The news media filmed it and focused on. He was down here for a fundraiser, and that has nothing to do with it. He was down here. He's got a right to go wherever he wants to go. We have an obligation to protect him to keep this country safe. And every country has an interest in seeing that we keep our vice president safe for national security and for the security of the world. This country does a lot. And a Maryville police officer, now he's in Tennessee, he's not in another state, he's in Tennessee. And we should provide protection in Tennessee. Can we? Well, we messed up royally, and THP, their own officers, investigating. So, according to witnesses on the scene, they're guarding the J.D. Vance. A Tennessee state trooper was on the road, stopped, and a Maryville officer was passing him on a motorcycle in the left lane. At the same time the Maryville motor officer was passing, the trooper made a left turn into the motorcycle, and it knocked the motorcycle up in there, seriously injuring the Maryville motorcycle officer. They give out his name. They, however, do not give out the name of the Maryville police officer, and justifiably so, because we don't want to dox him. I mean, they can discipline. We don't have to know about that. We don't have to hate on that officer. Similarly, when I was in a fatal pursuit where I didn't do anything wrong, the State Highway Patrol doxed me. They put out information that I did something wrong and put my picture in the paper. So over 3 months ago, a THP officer involved in a fatal incident, in a serious injury incident involving a Maryville officer. The Maryville officer was seriously injured. He went to the hospital, still ongoing, suffering injury, can't go back to work as of yet. And the THP officer's name has never been put out. I don't want it to be put out. Why did they put out my name? Because of retaliation, because they use wrecks and investigations for retaliation purposes, not for public safety. So, took 3 months, and I asked them the other day, sent out a letter to them trying to find out what's happening in that wreck. They haven't responded through public records. They haven't responded. According to witnesses, that's what happened. The THP officer turned into the motor officer. 3 months later, no report on that. December 21st, 2025, Kingston Pike and North Shore. The officer was not on the call, no lights or siren. One civilian dead and two seriously injured. Two seriously injured in that wreck. December 21st, 2025, involving Knoxville Police, intersection of North Shore and Kingston Pike. And no report. Tennessee Highway Patrol is doing the report, doing the investigation. Weeks later, we still have no indication of what happened. Sounds similar to what may have happened a few years earlier on Kingston Pike, the high rate of speed incident. I don't know that, but the fact that we don't have any information about what happened in that report. The news media's done moved on. They looked at the crash, filmed the bloody, dirty, crooked scene, and showed all that hype and inflammatory stuff. Weeks later, to try to prevent that from happening again, how about deterrence? We need to deter law enforcement for them to doing that. We need to deter the police department's upper administration. They're not only not deterring themselves, they're not even telling us what happened, trying to let the smoke settle and let it go away. And nobody did anything. We'll just quietly work this out and say we're good and accountable. But a Knoxville police car, stunningly, all crunched up in that scene. In Maryville, 2 law enforcement cars, stunningly messed up. One of them had to do something wrong. I mean, you have 2 people crashing into each other. One of them, by default, did something wrong. Might have been one of them a little more at fault than the other, but one, the other, or both, by default, logic. I tried to say that in ChatGPT, and it said you can't say that. You can't have sure logic. I mean, simply put, if you have 2 cars crashing into each other, and then one of them is at fault, it has to be. You don't have cars crashing, hurting each other, one seriously, without somebody being at fault, just by logic. And the government and the ChatGPT covers up for the government. I mean, that's how even they're programming their computers to do. You can't even point out the very obvious. That's why they don't like me. I point out the very obvious. So 7 weeks, 6 wrecks, 4 fatalities, 2 serious injuries. So December 21st, the Knoxville police officer, you can see the car all crunched up, the police car all crunched up, no information about what happened. THP's investigating that. THP lies. They've lied in the past about wrecks, so they're going to tell us the truth about that. THP's investigating the Maryville wreck. So that's 2 wrecks that we haven't got any information. I've requested it from them, where THP's doing the investigation. THP lies in the investigation they have in the past. So they've held on to releasing any kind of outcome. Wait till the dust settles. Hope it goes away. They didn't do anything wrong, I believe they'll say. And they're investigating. December 28, 2025, Blount County. Deputy killed in patrol car crash during attempted stop pursuit. 1 officer dead. So that's the only wreck that we've got any information out. And I think THP's investigating that. I couldn't determine. But they claim that he wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and he's not here to dispute that. And they can't dox him. They say he was at a high rate of speed pursuing a motorcycle whom they have charged. They claim he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. Now, he's not here to refute that. I know that THP in the past has made claims in fatal wrecks that people were not wearing their seatbelt when in fact they were, because they want to pad the statistics. They want to put out the perception in the public that most fatal wrecks involve people that are not wearing their seatbelt, because they want to try to get people to wear their seatbelt, which you should. Wear your seatbelt. That's a smart thing to do. I wear mine. But to lie to people in order to pad the statistics, to try to act like more people are killed because they're not using their seatbelt, is false. They shouldn't do that. So they're saying this deputy's dead, part of the reason he didn't have a seatbelt on. We don't know that, because I know they've lied before. I've literally seen wreck reports change where a deceased person was wearing a seatbelt. They got in a wreck, they're dead, they did have their seatbelt on. But the wreck report was changed to say that they didn't have their seatbelt on, to try to act like, present the image to the public that lack of seatbelt contributed to that, to try to get people to say, think and say that if you weren't wearing your seatbelt, you're likely to get killed. Look at all these people getting killed that didn't have their seatbelt on, when a lot of them are getting killed and they did have their seatbelt on. Because you have the governor, former governor of the state of Tennessee, has been, when they took my position away from me by lying, by a false police report, false reports, by doxing me, Haslam put out a commercial, because this is involving a drunk driver that killed himself and didn't have a seatbelt on either. Haslam put out a commercial where he's broken glass and encouraging people to wear a seatbelt. That's not what kills people. Not wearing a seatbelt is not what kills innocent people. It's not killing people by the mass truckloads all over the state of Tennessee. It's not causing mass fatalities. If you don't wear your seatbelt, you're likely to get killed in a wreck. That is true. But you cannot get killed because you don't have your seatbelt on. What's causing wrecks and fatalities is drunk and impaired drivers, is drunk and impaired troopers, is the administration in the Highway Patrol that is not properly training, that is not properly running the Department of Public Safety to protect you. It's running it for their own benefit. That's what's harming society. So we had Blount County. They say he didn't have a seatbelt on. I don't know. That's the only one we have information. And he's dead, so he can't refute anything. Honorable officer, and we thank him and his family for his sacrifice. January 21st, 2026, THP pursuit. It was on Liberty Street at Paper Mill. A THP officer was in pursuit, according to them. 2 people deceased. No information about what happened. No information whatsoever at all. And 2 fatalities. No information about the officers involved in the pursuit. No anything. That happened over a month ago. And when I was in a pursuit, not at fault at all, didn't do anything wrong, protected other people, did my best to protect the person that killed themselves, had no control over their car, they wouldn't obey lawful stops. They lied about me, lied about a police report, lied in a police report, put my name, and doxed me within days of that report. This report of this trooper, January 1st, 2026, none of his information has ever got put out about who he is, and what he did wrong, if anything. And they shouldn't put his name out. But I'm telling you, they use these wrecks that happen all the time, and the fatality incident that people go on emotion to retaliate and flame people, not based on the truthful investigations. So those are the 4 wrecks. The one in Maryville, seriously injured 1 officer, involving 2 officers. The one on Kingston Pike at North Shore, it killed 1 person, seriously injured another one. The one in Blount County with the Blount County officer killed the Blount County officer. the one in the THP pursuit, January 1st, killed 2 people. No information about any of those wrecks except for one of them. So, in 7 weeks, we got 4 fatalities, 2 critical serious injuries tied to officer-involved wrecks. That's what we're talking about, the epidemic. And no significant information about any accountability over the wrecks. And I've asked for that. I've asked for the wreck reports. And this isn't about doxing names, it's about training, supervision, and accountability. Where's the information about what they're going to do about it, about what happened? When patrol vehicles collide with each other, that's an internal breakdown. Coordination, communication, supervision, training. Something failed. Something failed for the most part in these wrecks involving this stuff. And we're going to talk about THP's investigating this stuff. We're going to talk about THP's investigations. We're going to expose that. And then we're going to talk about how they can get by with this crooked stuff, because they own the judiciary. They can lie in court. They can fraudulent investigations. They can get by with their own public corruption because they own the judiciary. They own the judges. They own the programs that run what's going on. And they can do whatever they want to do. So we have 4 dead, 1 critical in a short time. If policy was followed, prove it. If policy failed, fix it, since it's not about accountability. And let's look at what happens in the past when they've been involved in stuff that could cause accidents. So we had Assistant Attorney General Kevin Allen, who was drunk driving, admittedly pled guilty. But he wasn't in Knox County being investigated by the district attorney, being investigated by the politics. And he had a wreck, he didn't have a wreck. He was drunk driving, but he was outside his district. He was in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And this, according to Knoxville News Sentinel, Jamie Satterfield, Assistant District Attorney Kevin Allen admitted in Anderson General County Sessions Court he was driving drunk last month when he was arrested. He received a standard sentence of 48 hours in jail, 24 hours of litter pickup, and $350 fine. His driver's license was suspended for a year, but he may apply for a restricted license that will allow him to drive to work. His work was to drive down here and prosecute you for drunk driving. I mean, yeah. Okay. Related to his refusal to take a breath alcohol test was dismissed as part of the plea deal. So they even just... Allen will lose a week pay February 26th incident in Oak Ridge. Police say he was arrested after an officer saw him driving erratically. So he's arrested outside the Knox County prosecutor's area, doing something dangerous that could cause fatalities. So he's arrested by an officer that's not under control of the district attorney's office here in Knoxville. Where if you have the same incident, he was here in Knox County, he would have never went to jail. I don't believe it. So, and here's the prosecutor. He said, I have every confidence Kelvin Allen learned his lesson. He will not forget such a mistake. Will not be repeated, Nichols said. So he's bragging on him. When I was involved in a pursuit that the person killed himself, Randy Nichols said horrible stuff about me. I wasn't driving drunk. He was promoting the drunk driver. And his wife is now the prosecutor. Knox County DA pleads guilty to DUI, loses a week's pay. That's what they do to him because he was outside the area. Now, Samuel Jarbin, also a prosecutor with Knox County District Attorney's Office, she was stopped by Knoxville police just in that time period and given sobriety test, admitted to drinking, but she was in Knox County, where she's a Knox County prosecutor, and she was let go. So my thinking, my opinion, my view is that Mr. Allen was outside the area, and that's the only reason why the charges were dismissed. If you're in the political area where you're in power, you want him to be arrested. If Samuel Jarbin, that same night she was stopped by Knoxville police, had been in Oak Ridge, she might have been arrested too. If you're driving drunk in Knoxville, driving drunk in Oak Ridge, you'll go to jail. If you're driving drunk and you're under their political protection, then you can do any damn thing you want to do. If you're driving sober in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you're hit by a drunk trooper in a patrol car, which that has happened, that's not exaggerating. They have had troopers under the influence of alcohol in marked patrol cars. I know it happens, I've seen it. Tried to do stuff about it. Then what happens is you will get charged with a crime, and the trooper will be able to drive drunk again because they rehire him back. That's alarming, but that's the truth. So how does that happen? That happens because THP's investigating this stuff. Commissioner Bill Gibbons was over. He's not now. They got another commissioner now, but he was over the highway patrol. And he's the one that hung me out to dry line when I was a trooper. And they lied under oath. How can they get by with this? Because his wife is a judge, Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. She's not a judge here in the state of Tennessee. She's a judge for the state of Tennessee, for the Sixth Circuit was. But still, judges have influence. They don't have to be a judge sitting in General Sessions Court, for General Sessions Court knows that whatever he says goes, because his wife will find you guilty or not in the federal court. So it's infected the federal court system. So they can get out here and have wrecks, fatal wrecks in patrol cars because of lack of training, because of lack of accountability from the top. If you're out here on the bottom driving a patrol car, you're going to have wrecks. You're going to have bad stuff happen. None of us are perfect people, do that kind of stuff. It happens. The reason it happens is, here's the reason it happens, not because the officers on the road, is because they're not trained right. It's because they get rid of a lot of officers, been on the road a lot, have a lot of experience, know how to avoid wrecks. They get rid of the experience because the experienced people like me and a lot of other ones will stand up for the truth. So you have their investigations. I'm going to show you a little bit about their investigations. They're crooked as hell. They're THP in the last 7 weeks are investigating all these wrecks. They've got supreme authority. We don't have privy to the information they have. There just happened to be one wreck that they investigated. I was privy to information. I've been privy to some of them, and they lie about facts. So all these wrecks, Maryville, 2 officers, Blount County, 1 officer, the one on Kingston Pike involving an officer, the one on Paper Mill, a trooper. So 5 officers involved in 4 wrecks, and THP's investigating it to tell us what happened, whether or not the officer did wrong, what kind of training. And THP lies about investigations they have in the past. Logic. You know the answer to a question. You're asking somebody a question about something, and they don't know that you know the answer. And they know the answer to it, but they don't know you know. They lie about it, so you know that they didn't give you the correct answer. You know they've lied in at least that one instance. They lied. THP lied in this one instance. I know several, but I'll show you they lied in this one, involving a wreck. So you ask them another question about another wreck. They're investigating these wrecks, these 5 wrecks. They're investigating them. We know they've lied about in the past about wrecks, what happened. How do we know they're telling the truth about these wrecks? We don't know. We don't know whether we suspect, I do, that they're lying, that they will lie about it, and we'll show you how they lie about wrecks. How they've lied in the past about wrecks. Here's the intersection where a wreck happened. So thank y'all for coming in. Like, share, comment. We don't have a lot of viewers today, but that's okay. We'll go on anyway. Got our usual haters in here. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So yeah, okay. So here is THP investigating wrecks. Now, this was one that I know about. Let me just show you here. Let's just show you here the lies from the Tennessee Highway Patrol that's investigating this wreck. And here's what they said in their police reports. Now, they're going to give you police reports and say this is what happened. But I'm telling you, they'll give you a police report and tell you what happened in that Maryville wreck involving the motorcade worldwide. People ought to know what THP has lied in the past. They may lie about that to the whole world. The Tennessee Highway Patrol, investigating their own officers' actions, may lie to the whole world about something significant. They've already not come forth with information, and I'll show you they've lied before. Here is a wreck that they worked just a few short years ago, and a police report written by Sergeant Joe Walker, the sergeant that investigated the wreck. And here's a police report that they wrote. I'll show you the report. It says here, Sergeant Joe Walker, interview of 911 caller, Trooper Van Morgan. Report narrative, second paragraph. So this is report 2502. Miss Darling stated she heard a loud crash, looked out her bedroom window and saw a vehicle had hit a tree. Miss Darling called 911, and while she was watching, the vehicle burst into flames. So that was his official police report statement. That was his official report statement, that she looked out her bedroom window and saw a car had hit a tree. So she hears a loud crash, goes out and seen a car had hit a tree. That's what he said. He wrote that in his report. But let's look at what she said. So see if he's lying, see if that's actually what happened. So we determined from our report that the Maryville officer was turning, had his signal on, and that the Alcoa officer was going at a high rate of speed. He did nothing wrong, and the THP officer did nothing wrong. I mean, that's what they might tell you. And so here's what happened. Here's what happened. He said she looked out her and bedroom window, saw a vehicle hit a tree. This is Sergeant Joe Walker, Tennessee Highway Patrol. Criminal Investigation Division, Saturday, 26th of November, 9:33 a.m., talking to Shirley Darling about a crash in Knox County at Andersonville Pike near Hill Road. Shirley, you understand why I'm here taping the conversation? Darling, yes. Walker, how did you come to find out about the crash? Darling, I heard a loud noise and I thought a car had maybe come down Hill Road and run into one of those brick columns out here, and I looked out my bedroom window and that I couldn't see anything. I looked out my bedroom window and I couldn't see anything. Says here, I heard a loud crash, looked out her bedroom window and saw a vehicle hit a tree. He says she saw a vehicle hit a tree. I looked out my bedroom window and couldn't see anything. So that'd be a lie. He's lying. I couldn't see anything. It was dark, and then I saw a light colored. It must have been something like a van or something. So she couldn't see anything because it was dark. That's not what he says. This is Joe Walker writing the report. He says she looked out her bedroom window and it was clear as a bell, seen it right off. That's not what she said. There's a little bit of time she couldn't see it. I don't know. I can't figure it wasn't burning. And I saw somebody and I thought, well, maybe the fire. Because it wasn't burning before that. So you just heard a loud bang. Primarily, that's primarily what I heard. Okay, Walker, Darling, and I was real. Okay. Well, it's going to go off. It's a real loud sounding crash. I don't know whether it would have woke me up or not because the bedroom's right there next to Andersonville Pike. So she's right next to it. Yeah, that works. Just a loud crash. You looked out your window. Did you see the car when you initially looked out? See right here. He's even asking her this question, so he knows the answer. Did you see the car when you originally looked out? Darling, no. I didn't see the car until I told Royal Metro, the people that I saw, oh, it's on fire. Mark, okay, so it caught on fire after that. Were you continue looking out the window to see if you could see it, and then all of a sudden you saw it? Darling, yeah, all of a sudden I saw it. It burst into flames. So, yeah. So he says, right here, very clear, this is THP. They're investigating all this stuff. Miss Darling said she heard a loud crash and looked out her bedroom window and saw a vehicle hit a tree. So he's saying that she looked out her window and saw a car hit a tree. And you say, maybe he's mistaken. Maybe you don't know he's lying. But he specifically asked her. He specifically asked her. He specifically asked her. He specifically asked her that question. He said that, Walker, okay, darling, I don't know. That's where she at. Just a lot. You looked out your bedroom window. He says, you looked out her bedroom window. He asked her, that's what he says. So you looked out your bedroom window. Did you see the car when you originally looked out? Did you see it? She says no. She says no. Did you see the car when he asked her that question specifically? It's on tape, it's on recording. And then he says, and she says no right there. No, that's her statement. He says, Miss Darling stated she heard a loud crash, looked out her bed window, and saw a vehicle hit a tree. So he directly contradicts what he specifically asked her, so he lied. He's doing a wreck investigation. And he's trying to frame me, retaliate, they even dox me, and lied about something he specifically asked her. He said she looked out her window, saw a car hit a tree. And that's what he's saying, signed his name to it. So when a THP goes to that, is answering the questions about the wreck in Maryville, involving something worldwide, with J.D. Vance on a world platform, and they asked the investigator with THP, what happened in this arrest? It's of national significance, and THP lied. So we're going to believe him. The whole world can't believe the Tennessee Highway Patrol. They're liars. And because he specifically asked her, did you see the car when you originally looked out? Her answer was no. No. That means no. But he says, that's like, rape. No means no. And being intoxicated, you can't give consent. So, but he is saying, after you ask her that, he knows that. It's in his mind. He asked her specifically, that's important to him. Did you see the car when you looked out? No. And then he writes in his report, she looked out her bedroom window and seen the car hit a tree. So he's saying she did see it when she looked out. He said she looked out her bedroom window, forgot about the no part, and seen the car hit a tree. He forgot about she didn't see it. But see how he's changing the script, line. That's a THP report investigating all these wrecks. And one of them on the world stage, that's the Tennessee Highway Patrol, investigating these wrecks on the world stage. They can lie because they own the judiciary. They own the judiciary. They won't hold them accountable for lying under oath. That's only one lie. There's more lies than what they told. The whole issue is the visibility of the car, because I drove past it not seeing it because it was not visible. So how could I see it if it wasn't visible? In proof that it wasn't visible, I state on the record that another witness seen it, the one that called 911, but she couldn't see it at first either, just like me. That's evidence. Hey, I couldn't see the car off the road. That's why I drove by it. When the witness called 911, she couldn't see the car off the road either. She said, did you see it when you... No. Did I see it? No. I seen the tail end, but didn't look like a crash. She didn't see anything. But he changes the report to she seen it. That's a lie. She's seen it, Van's seen it. So they just lie. They're liars on a world stage. THP is going to have something in world politics. I mean, they're going to lie about a police report. We don't know what happened in that wreck in Maryville, nor will we ever know. They'll present whatever retaliatory or other position that they want, based not on the facts of a wreck, because you see clearly where they don't care about any facts. They'll lie about it, and they won't get caught because they got relatives in the judiciary. And that's the same thing they'll do to you. They'll wreck patrol cars and slam into you and kill your family and tell you you were at fault, when if they'd done a blood test on the police officer, or if you knew that the police officer had a captain for a daddy or somebody related, then that's the reason why they're getting free, not based on the fact you did anything wrong, based on public corruption at its worst. It's showing up in dead bodies in the road in the past 7 weeks. You want that to go on? Keep sitting the boats out. That's what's going to happen. Keep listening to the news. They presented the carnage. They didn't tell you what happened. I'm asking what the hell happened. Tell us the damn truth. Don't lie to us, because we'll figure it out. They're liars. Let's look at this right here. So this is another lie. And if you think, well, I'll get a lawyer. I'll just get a lawyer and I'll go in there and fight them. Go in there in crooked courts and fight them. Good luck with that. They own the judge, jury, and executioner. And the executioner loves to kill. And the jury will believe their damn lies. In Knoxville, I couldn't even get any votes because people believe the jury's damn lies. And I'm the only one honest in the room. And I'll keep being honest, because honesty matters. I believe that it does. They'll try to convince you that honesty don't matter. Look at these people's great lives that lie all the way to the top. Well, go ahead. Live yours a little short life. Hell's hot. And that's just what I say. And also, there's more trucks out there lying, little Russell. You dirty liar. Keep lying. I keep telling the truth. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of God. You ought to be afraid of your stupid self, you ignorant thug. So here we go. Even if you hire a lawyer, they don't care. They don't want you to hire a lawyer. Here's another lie they told. On the video, grieving after his dispatch is heard to say that's going to be the vehicle before he got to the scene of the Anito incident. Shelton, this is a lie by a trooper, page 37, line 24 and 28, and lines 38 and 1 through 8. So they're alleging, that's the whole picture in this incident, about a crash that THP, their Special Opportunity Response Team, is investigating. They're investigating. They're honest people. They're going to tell you what happened. They told you what happened in that pursuit that I was in, that somebody lost their life that was drunk. Happens all the time. But they didn't want to tell you the truth about that. That had nothing to do with the reason why they got rid of me. They got rid of me because I was reporting internal wrong within the department, and I was making them look bad that I was being able to clean up and lower the fatality rate, whereas all their other relatives that don't want to get out here and risk their life for public safety. They want their paycheck, they want your money, and law enforcement not do a damn thing. They want their cover-ups, and they want THP to investigate wrecks and decide in their favor. So they use the THP investigation unit, the Highway Patrol, to retaliate against some people, to lie about wrecks, lift them up and put you down. That's exactly what they do, and you need to hear about it. You need to hear about it. It's called public corruption at its worst. We're going to tell you about another lie that they told. That's just one lie. They lie in their reports. Let's trust THP in investigation and world stage. I mean, really? I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust them as far as I can throw them. There's a fact you can't get them off the damn ground. They're gluttons. Not all of them. Most of them. So I'm going to tell you about another lie they told. And this is important. They're investigating wrecks. They got the lead investigation in the wreck involving the national platform. They're investigating the wreck on Kingston Pike involving the felt fatality and the serious injury. They're investigating the wreck that they were in pursuit on New Year's Day involving the trooper in the pursuit. And we can't believe them. They lie. Here's one lie. They told the lie in this case. Logic. You know the truth. I'm showing you the truth. That's what the witness said. She didn't see the car. The trooper says, yeah, she did. Look at her bed when we see the car. That's just one lie. There's a bunch of them. See, I'm a trained lawyer. I'm not licensed, but I got the same. I know how to do this stuff. I did it when I was a trooper. Did it right. I didn't make bad DUI arrests. I made good ones. I don't make bad allegations. I make truthful ones. They lie. It's a lying agency that's dangerous to you. It's called the Department of Public Safety. It's the Department of Public Danger under an alleged self-proclaimed Christian governor that approved an abortion bill that's starving children that'd be better than a millstone hung around his neck, according to the book that he holds up, that he walks in. Only said Jesus Christ when I held him accountable to that, saying, claiming he was a Christian, and commercially never mentioned the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's what Christianity is about. Followers of Jesus Christ, accept him to your heart, accept his forgiveness for your penalty for doing wrong, that we're all born wrong, and ask him into your heart, and follow Jesus Christ like he lived when he was on the planet, when he was God in the flesh, loved his enemies, did right, fed the poor, helped the sick and the needy, the poor and the afflicted. And yet the governor, the self-proclaimed Christian that's over the line THP, hasn't done anything about it. Doesn't think he has to. I think he does, because I pray about it, and I trust God, and condones this stuff. Here's another lie that they told about the same wreck. And I'll show you. They lie, a bunch of lies. How many more lies are they going to lie about all these wrecks they're working? A bunch of them, probably. Thank y'all for joining me. Come on in. Come on in. Okay, here we go. On the video, grieving after he's heard say that's going to be the vehicle, but he got to the scene of the incident, Shelton. So that's an investigator with THP saying that. But look at the facts here. The facts are in the video. In the video show that I said, while stopped, the vehicle was back there wrecked because of solid patch. They falsely say he knew, because he said he knew that going to be the vehicle, but that is not what he said. He said 10-4, that's probably going to be the vehicle. I'll check. So after he is dispatched, he's heard say that's going to be the vehicle. They got me quoted. That's going to be the vehicle. Going to be the vehicle. But on the video, I said 10-4. That's probably going to be the vehicle. Probably. So they left. They quoted me. They quoted me, but they left part of what I said out, because you can listen to the vehicle. So they lie about stuff, alarming, horrific, huge stuff. They lie about it to incriminate somebody falsely. They've been involved in 5 wrecks, 4 fatalities, 2 serious injuries. THP's investigating that on the world stage. Let me read you this. This is what I did out at night. I told you I was going to read this. The angel of the night. Fear not the night, fear that which walks the night. And I am that which walks the night. But only evil need fear me. And gentle souls sleep safe in their beds because I walk the night, by Dave Grossman. So that's my poem. And only evil need fear me. Only the people in power need fear me, because they are working wrecks right now, responsible for investigating incidences involving 4 fatalities, 2 serious injuries, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol, who lied in reports, are investigating the outcome of that injury. And also right now, this wreck right here with the Knoxville Police Department was investigated by the Knox County Sheriff's Department to avoid the appearance of bias, because agency investigating itself. So they at the Sheriff's Department investigate the Knox County Police Department. That same THP detective, sergeant, Tennessee Highway Patrol investigator, that lied in this police report I just showed you, that made the image of something that he specifically asked knew about, that she said no, and then he wrote on the report that she said yes. So he lied about something he knew about. That same state investigator now works, Joe Walker now works for the Knox County Sheriff's Department in this area. So even if the Sheriff's Department investigates a wreck, they have investigators that lie, because now he works for the Knox County Sheriff's Department. So if you lie for the establishment, they promote you. If you tell the truth like me and protect society and make it the Department of Public Safety, which it was when I was out there, then they punish you. They defame and lie on you, try to put you in jail and do bad stuff to you. If you are in power, you get by with your drunkenness. The police chief a few years ago got a ride home. Samuel Jarbin didn't get arrested, and maybe she should have been. If you're outside their district, then they will arrest you, but you get a slap on the wrist. So their investigations are biased, and they have not released information. If I get information about how they've released it, I'll let you, the public, know. I'll let y'all know what the results of the investigation are, and tell y'all, because I've sent a records requesting the date of the incident, and let y'all know what happens. So what I'm telling you is that THP's investigating these wrecks, a one on a national level, and they lie. They're not trustworthy. We can't trust what they say. And it's horrific because it's a matter of national security, national safety, and that's how they handle things in the good old dirty state of Tennessee. And what we can do about it is, one of the main things we can do is vote. Get up and vote. Voters of truth enraged. And vote these people out of office. And I'll show you one judge right down here you need to vote out. And also what we can do about it is pray. That's one of those powerful weapons. Now they do it because they think they can get by with it, and they've gotten by with it for years and years. So here's the scene of this fatal wreck that happened right here at this intersection, involving a Knoxville police officer. The Sheriff's Department, see if we can get across this road. The Sheriff's Department, right here at this intersection, the Sheriff's Department investigating it. Six seconds. Oh no, better hurry. So the Sheriff's Department investigated this wreck right here at this intersection, involving a fatality with the Knoxville Police Department. Someone was killed. And the Sheriff's Department, the Knox County Sheriff's Department, has an officer right now that lied in a wreck report. So if they investigate wrecks, they got a confirmed liar, I know. So logic, if he lied in that report, if he fills out another wreck report, another investigation involving the Sheriff's Department, Joe Walker, do we know that he'll tell us the truth? I don't know. You tell me. The Sheriff's Department hired him. The Sheriff's Department, there's a sheriff election race coming up. The Sheriff's Department hired him because he lied for the establishment and blackballed somebody, defamed somebody, doxed somebody. So if you help the government dox, lie, and hang somebody out, they will promote you. So it's not about get to the truth. It's about doing their dirty, and wrecks help them do that. The wrecks help them do that. It's not about investigating the wrecks and finding out what's the cause and providing for public safety. It's about using wrecks to dox good people and to lie about what actually happened in the wreck to protect guilty people. That's what wrecks, that's what they use them for. Not for public safety. And so you have Attorney General Randy Nichols, former Attorney General Randy Good-for-Nothing Nichols, over the prosecutor's office. And now you have Sharman Tissue Allen. I'm just talking about these wrecks that are happening right now in real time, several of them all at one time. And this is serious. This is what's going on right here in Knoxville. That could cause you to be dead by a marked patrol car. Don't blame the officers, blame the people over them. Blame the people in the upper administration. I'll tell you how it ties together. So Randy Nichols was the Knox County line prosecutor during that incident where someone killed themselves in a horrific drunk driving wreck, killed themselves. No one that got him drunk was prosecuted. So, and they doxed me. So if you are on his good side, and hello, how you doing? And if you're on his good side, you cooperated with him, you did his dirty, and he protected road judges, and you had a wreck involving a fatality and an injury in a patrol car, or you had a wreck and you were in the prosecutor's office, or you were one of his buddies and you did wrong, then he is the one that brought charges against you. Randy Good-for-Nothing Nichols would bring charges or not against you. He would bring charges for or against sheriff's deputies. So they're the ones investigating that ultimately bring charges, assist in investigation, and ultimately bring charges against people in Knox County. And they don't bring charges against people or not because of crimes. They bring charges against people or not because of votes, politics, or who they are, if they're their friends or family. That's why they charge people. Has little to nothing to do with criminal offenses. Doesn't. That's the truth. I'm Bridal News, Charles Van Morgan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, contribute if you can. It has to do with people in power covering it for themselves and other people. That's what the criminal injustice system does. It's criminal injustice for them. It's criminal justice for you. If you do anything wrong, you damn sure bet you'll be prosecuted. But they won't, and they never do, unless they're outside their area of power. So Randy Nichols was over the police department. Now we have Sharman Tissue Allen, and she is going to decide right now. Sharman Tissue Allen is going to decide. She was in the office when Randy Nichols was. She is going to decide whether or not officers did anything wrong in those wrecks here in Knoxville. The one on Kingston Pike at North Shore, one fatality, one seriously injured involving a marked patrol car. Sharman Tissue Allen, although not doing investigation, she's assisting in the investigation. She's the one that decides whether or not to criminally charge the officer in that wreck if he did something wrong. She's the one that decides ultimately if he violated criminal laws. Sharman Tissue Allen. And Randy Nichols did that formally for law enforcement in this area. You did not get criminally charged unless they decided to charge you. So they're ultimately over the power over deciding whether you come or go, stay or leave. Their lives have serious impact on your lives. Now, he said some horrific stuff about me that he even admitted wasn't true. Wow, how do you do that? He's just ringing the bell. That's how crooked these people are. If they can't say anything false, truthful. If they can't say anything about you that's wrong, they'll make it up knowing that it's false and then take it back. So I took it back. Yeah, that's what they do. So when Randy Nichols was over the prosecutor's office in Knoxville, and Sharman Tissue Allen is now, but he would prosecute or not prosecute police based on politics, not based on whether or not they did anything wrong. We damn sure know he didn't prosecute the police chief when he was stopped for DUI but got out of it. We know he didn't prosecute him because so because the former police chief Phil Keith got stopped by another Knoxville police officer when he was off duty, admitted to drinking non-alcoholic beer, and the officer suspected that he shouldn't be driving, got him another ride home, the video was reviewed by Randy Good-for-Nothing Nichols, and he decided no criminal charges. So he's possibly drunk driving, no criminal charges, because he's the police chief. You know, he's got a little political clout, so he gets by with it. So you have that under Randy Nichols. So if Randy Nichols is out here speeding, driving drunk, doing whatever, or he told an officer or department to do something, they'd do it, because the department knows that whenever we're out on the road, it's dangerous. We'll make mistakes depending on what side of him we're on, not about whether we do right or wrong, what side of him. If we're under his good graces or not, our crimes will be overlooked or not. That's how it is. And even if you didn't do anything wrong, if you're on his bad side, he'll make it look like you did and hang you out to dry, even though you couldn't get through a jury, which is what he did to me. That's how crooked these people are. So he reviewed wrecks of Knoxville police during his devastating, horrific time over the Knox County dictatorship, and let drunk drivers go if they were in the know, and prosecuted some, I'm sure, even back then, that weren't even drunk, just like they're doing today all the time. That's what goes on. If you think you'll drive down the road, you're perfectly stone cold sober, everything will be all right. Let me tell you, it's on the news right now. They're arresting innocent people that can prove it for drunk driving. And you say, well, they're getting out of it. The colonel said the system works. They're the ones that did a blood test that can prove it are getting out of it. The ones that didn't do a blood test, that were stone cold sober, that can't prove it, are in jail right now doing time. So you tell me the system ain't working. It didn't work right off the bat. They should have never been put in jail. And it's not working. It's not working just because some of them that got falsely arrested are getting out of it, because a lot of them that got falsely arrested aren't getting out of it. Now, that's just the truth. So under Randy Nichols' dictatorship, the dirtbag criminal liar defamer that he is, good-for-nothing Randy Nichols, then he exonerated the unexoneratable and persecuted you, mass civilians, population here in Knox County, and there's a lot of prosecutors like that. He tried to prosecute me, no criminal charges, slandered me, lied on me, defamed me, stuff that he's guilty of. I think he's a pedophile. I think Randy Nichols is a pedophile. I know that because of gaslighting. If you're guilty of something, then gaslighting is you accuse somebody else of it. And I think that he is a pedophile because he accused other people of being a pedophile that were not, without any evidence, and admitted that he didn't have any evidence because he probably didn't want to be sued, or because he knew he'd be completely defamed by saying that, because there's no evidence of that. So he took it back, but he wanted to get that out there. So why would you even make that up unless it was in your mind, because you're doing it yourself, called gaslighting. A lot of people accuse other people of things that they're doing. And I think the Knox County prosecutor, former prosecutor Randy Nichols, who's now a Knox County sheriff, works for the Knox County Sheriff's Department. I think he's a pedophile. So you have a pedophile working in the Sheriff's Department, at the Knox County Sheriff's Department. So I lost a lot of people doing that, didn't I? That's all right. That's the truth. So he protected Phil Keith. He protected Samuel Jarbin. He protected his people. And you say, what do these police departments get out of it by not arresting them? They could arrest them. It's the law. They went to jail and done their time. Well, see, Randy Nichols protected them. Or what did Randy Nichols get out of protecting police agencies? Well, he protected them. And now, get this, right now today, he works for the Sheriff's Department. So after he left the Knox County prosecutor's office as the lead dictator and prosecutor of innocent people, liar and defamer, dirtbag creep, potential pedophile. I'm just saying, because of gaslighting, when you accuse somebody of something as heinous as he did, you're probably guilty of it. Now, he protected the Sheriff's Department. And now, he is working for the Sheriff's Department. So after you leave office, if you protect them while you're in office, then you get a job for them. You get another job, you get another government paycheck. So right now, you look how that follows. What does I have to do today? Well, now you got Sharman Tissue Allen. You got Sharman Tissue Allen in the prosecutor's office, same position as her predecessor in the prosecutor's office. And she will protect the Knox County Sheriff's Department liars like Joe Walker, Joe Line Police Report Walker, that helps defame, and because he retired from the highway patrol, like I wasn't allowed to do, even though I had another state job before that. Should have never went to work for that crooked agency. Would have got my full retirement. So now Sharman Tissue Allen works at she's a prosecutor. She'll protect prosecutors. She will protect the establishment. She will protect the establishment at police departments and rule in whatever favor on wrecks that they tell her that they won't. You say, why would she do that? Because when she retires, she can go to work for the sheriff's department. She can get a job for them. If she hangs them out to dry and defies the establishment, defies the hierarchy in the sheriff's department, then they won't hire her. You didn't do us right. You didn't stand on our side even when we were wrong, like Nichols did. So we won't hire her. So she's going to do whatever the sheriff's department tells her to do. She's going to do whatever the dirtbag liars tell her to do. That's how they do things. That's how they work. That's how they fly. So here we're back at our signature location. Thank y'all so very much for watching. We're at our signature location here. And our pulpit, they won't let me practice law in the courtroom, and I'm not practicing law out on the street, but I'm presenting a case for the mass populace for you all. Went over my notes. You can see the beautiful view. And thank you all for watching today. Hope you enjoyed the show. We may or may not be back on here tomorrow. We'll show you the beautiful view of the city, of the river. And as I always try to say, everybody go vote. Vote the judiciary out of office. Contribute if you can. Nobody has today, unfortunately. That's okay. We'll keep praying about things, keep voting, keep going on. Thank y'all for watching. God bless you all. Look at the beautiful view. Try to be back on here tomorrow, maybe not. And may God bless you all. God loves you, and I do too.